All right, welcome everyone to lesson 71 of Sapanta's Writing Masterclass. Today's a really broad lesson. It's a lesson that I will have a lot of fun teaching. Reason being is because I'm mainly asking the question, what does it actually mean to be a good writer? Right? We can all robotically structure a bullshit essay on a bullshit book or a bullshit movie and talk about X, Y, and Z theme and X, Y, and Z director, author, character. But what does it actually mean to be a good writer? How can you guys know that you're good writers, or you're becoming one, or you're not a good writer, to then know what it will take for you to actually be a good writer? Now, I've put the notes in chat if you guys want to access that and request for the approval on the platform. There we go. It's coming through. I've got, I wasn't proud, just vulnerable, so that my fellow peers didn't feel shame if they hadn't have done the same regarding the Vox article. Ali, I appreciate your honesty and vulnerability. Be more organized. And Ruthfix replied, idiot, have some dignity. Monkey boy? Is that donkey boy? Wait a second. Donkey and monkey both start with donkey and monkey are like the same word, but with a different starting letter. Donkey, monkey, similar word origin? Hold on. Is that a thing? Oh, because it's the diminutive suffix key with the infix on. Wow. Oh my God. Ah, interesting. Ah, wow. Nice, 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 nice. We're learning, guys, etymologically, you know? Um, okay, I'm not going to read all that, guys, please. Let's not flood chat. Um, Someone said parallelism. True. Okay, let's get into it. So, largely speaking, right, you need to actually, like, you need to understand what it means to be a good writer. Okay? Being a good writer, again, is not this idea of, I have to follow Teal. Where is my E? Where is my second E? Right? A lot of people can just open up a Google Doc and just start writing and start typing, and their ideas happen to flow in a nice, cohesive fashion. Okay? You have to, you have to speak as if you've discovered an idea, right? When I put an idea onto paper for one of my articles, right? First, it starts out as a set of dot points. I don't plan it as if it's some robotic TPQCL ball and hide. This is how we're going to write. No, 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 that's not what I do. So you begin in curiosity, right? Then you have to actually understand where your logic and your feelings take you, okay? And by the end of it, you want to achieve a transformation of thought, maybe a shift in your idea, right? So your writing this way is organic and not mechanical. I want to teach you how to actually let sentences unfold, not just construct sentences because you know that it goes subject, verb, object, complement, adverbial. Because every sentence needs to go subject, verb, object, complement, adverbial. So if you're starting at the mathematical point of writing, then you're already arguably in the wrong place. So we need to step back. We need to go back to the beginning, right? Um, so remember, a good writer is not just someone who uses language well or knows how to, write a concept point blank. It's someone who, you need to show me that you listen deeply, that you think courageously. It's so much more than just putting words on paper. It is understanding the way you see the world, understanding your own mind, and how your language interacts with the world around you, okay? So you need to basically be able to translate the invisible into something that the world can actually tangibly read and hold, right? It's an abstract, it's a feeling, it might be ineffable. You need to give that ineffable feeling shape, weight, resonance, transcendence, right? And that all starts with actually wanting to write, wanting to have a creative idea, wanting to think uniquely and idiosyncratically, right? I think so much of your schooling is just, hey, you have to have a topic sentence now. Okay, and how do I write a topic sentence? Oh, I gotta relate it to either my contention or my next idea or the prompt or. None of that gives you any room to actually think, you know, but how can I think beneath the ordinary things, right? There is a faint hum beneath the truth that you need to write about. So you need to radically pay attention. So ask yourself, what am I really trying to say, right? Like beneath the surface of the words that I'm using, right? Um, and the other thing is, I feel like a lot of you guys write things without actually understanding what you're writing. You don't understand what you're saying. A lot of you hide behind big words. A lot of you write to impress me, not to express yourselves, right? You know what I mean? You're kind of finding a snapshot in time, and you're forcing yourself to stand still and write whatever you can think of to regurgitate it out in that moment. When in reality, you have to let your mind move while you write, and you have to work with it. So as I'm writing, I can't explain the euphoria that I feel. So what I want to do is I want to write live for you guys, and I want you to see how I talk through my writing, how I feel through my writing. Okay? I want everyone in chat to give me an existential idea to write about. And I'm going to take all of it and I'm going to put all these ideas into this Google Doc that I've opened. And I just want to show you how I would write. And I'm going to voice all of my thoughts. Because I want you to have a look into the window or through that window of the way that I see the world when I write, which is why I'm prioritizing teaching you the anatomy of virtue, right? Why, even though it has arguably nothing to do with English, we're talking through Erickson's psychosocial stages. Even though arguably Maslow's hierarchy, you guys are like, oh, I learned this in business management. It is so important to be able to understand human beings on an acute and astute scale, right? Um, in order to write well. And it goes beyond your content knowledge, okay? So my first idea in chat is a person finds a bomb in their closet. You guys are sick, but okay, that's fine. We'll add that into the list. What else? Give me more ideas. A person finds a bomb in their closet. What? That is the, that's geographically convenient. What else? Um, I've got Ali is cheating on his English outcome today. Is that my next? Guys, give me some serious ideas. Come on. This Google Doc is waiting. It is blank and it is begging for your input. What comes to mind? What do you want to see me write about? No, I don't want to write about Ruth Vic skipping gym. Come on, guys. Give me serious ideas. Tajazvi, do you have any ideas? Taranom, Tabassum. I've got Ali and Angie finally seeing each other after their breakup. Okay, guys, what are you? The genocide in Gaza, we're not going to do that on a recording. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting some better suggestions. Alana, do you have any ideas? Is there anything you want to see me write about? Arvin, what do you think? Aria, Martin. So, Viana, would you like me to turn this idea into a creative? Would you like it to be, do you want it to be some sort of analytical world perspective piece? What do you want from it? Okay, good. Okay, nice. So you guys want me to okay, you want me to freestyle. Okay, something creative with deeper connotations. Okay, good. See, give me these rules. Give me these rules, and I'll write live for you. Okay, okay, no worries. So we're going to combine these. Any other ideas last minute? Tabassum, Taranum, Sophia, Safina, anything. You guys can still add ideas. I'm happy to incorporate as many ideas as you can come up with. I'll find a way to connect it. Um, okay, beautiful. That's a good idea. I've got what one learns from meeting someone new. Okay, okay. What someone learns from meeting a new type of person. Beautiful. Okay, let's think about that. We're getting there. We're getting more existential. Okay, Ali, you're just creating a Star Wars plot. I'm not into that. Okay, we're gonna work with what we got. I've got 4 lines, and we're gonna work with this, okay? We're gonna work with this. Beautiful. And I'll set myself, I've got Adam finds out he was not grown. Oh, as in, Adam finds out he's adopted after 28 years. Okay, I'll add that into the mix. So, what do I inherently feel like I want to write about when I look at these options, right? And how can I possibly connect these? So, the first juvenile response I received is a person finds a bomb in their closet. Seriously speaking, right? No, that's okay. Seriously speaking, like, I want you guys to think. The way to actually flesh out an idea is to ask questions about the idea. I don't care how nonsensical it is. We're going to find a way to create something engaging and something that flows and something that's cohesive and something that's interesting, okay? So, what would I seriously do if there was a bomb in my closet, right? And further to that, is it about to detonate? And and what thoughts would that elicit within me? And who would I run and tell? So do you see how from this one sentence I'm pulling out all these questions? Do you see how one sentence as a stem is really the source of questioning, right? A single sentence as a stem is the source of questioning. And that goes for any prompt ever in the world in English, for anything that you'll ever have to write about. Because prior to writing, or rather prior to writing well, you must ask a plethora of questions to flesh out the parameters of what you write about. The more questions you ask, the more accurate your ideas will be, right? I'll put it this way, actually. Yesterday, one of my friends was telling me about her research project or this like survey she did to see if, hypothetically speaking, right, um, mistrust in the government creates climate anxiety when those same people consider the actions of the government untrustworthy, right? And when she was explaining her survey to me, I was like, this is such a stupid idea. Why? Because all these people can be influenced from so many different directions. You haven't narrowed down the idea. You haven't asked enough questions to narrow it down so that people and your sample size are not afflicted by their surroundings. And then you're not even accounting for global culture. And then specific to Australian culture, we're so anti-authoritarian. We're kind of anti-government. We're very tall poppy syndrome, and so on and so on and so on. So how might that affect the way that we feel about climate anxiety? And also, are people even educated enough to know about climate anxiety? And what if part of your sample size is too educated? And what about their sources of information? I mean, do people even know what it means to have anxiety? So if I ask you about your climate anxiety, what the fuck does that mean to the average person? Do you even understand what it means to have anxiety? So many people can have anxiety and they won't even know that that is what anxiety is. And anxiety can mean so many different things to so many different people. So, all in all, her idea is absolutely nonsensical. It is futile, it is useless, it is garbage. Unless she would have asked more questions and narrowed the idea down for a more meaningful hypothesis. That's a science experiment. The same goes when you write an essay that's not bullshit. Because if you don't ask yourself questions properly, your essay will read like bullshit. Because the ideas that you have are not fucking calibrated, right? So if someone gives me this prompt, a person finds a bomb in their closet, if you don't ask yourself, okay, hold on, is the bomb about to detonate? What type of bomb is it? Who would I run and tell? Are there going to be thoughts that run within me? And do you see how all of this kind of relies on empathy? That ability to put myself into that position, into those shoes, that psychological awareness, that emotional intelligence that I bang on about that gets you guys the 100% and shit that you score at school for a reason because you've started to think in a very mature manner, right? I'll tell you, one of the realest tests of intelligence in this world is what? People that can simulate events and outcomes with many unpredictable variables are very intelligent. So if you can visualize tomorrow in math class, if I say a certain sentence that is inappropriate, to a student that I've never talked to before. But from what I understand about their personality and what I've seen them interact with others in the sense of, can I predict how they would react? And can I predict how others around us would react? And can I predict what would happen to me, to them? Can I simulate the real world? If you can simulate the real world, you're very intelligent. And if you can do it accurately, right? So that's a skill. You can develop that. And that comes with accruing data, really being observant. And that's what I mean when I say you need to be radically obsessed with details, radically observant. There's not a moment during the day where a thought doesn't run through my mind, right? And maybe that's an incumbent, but it allows me to always write something that is very thorough, very profound, very visceral. Okay? So, next. The next sentence I got is the bomb is set by someone that they trust, but they don't know that yet. Okay? And I need to think, how would I react to this sort of, I guess, placement of something that threatens my life by someone I thought I could trust? And then can I spin this off into a segment of writing about what it even means to trust people around you? And further to that, it's like, how do we decide who we trust? Is it arbitrary? Is it inherently linked to who you've spent the most time with? Is that an accurate way? Well, obviously not, but these are ideas that we want to talk about and think about to create a piece of writing, a dissertation that is meaningful. Okay? The next sentence I got is a person finds a secret key, let's say me, right? You find a secret key that that undoes the detonation timer of the bomb. Okay? So what would that mean? It's like, okay, now after that event happens, how does my life change? How do I reshift or readjust my perspective towards the world? Imagine I'm the character, right? And in a way, what lesson can I teach the world about this event through my writing? Right? Or if you want to write about someone that, learns that they're actually adopted, right? Adam finds out he was adopted after 28 years. You got to think, why would that matter? What inherent connection do we have to our biological parents? How different is he genetically to his adopted parents, right? Or, to his guardians that adopted him. Right? How included did he feel in his lifetime? So some people find out that they're adopted and they don't even mind, right? Some people find out they're adopted and they don't even mind. And why is that? Do you see how I'm thinking of questions to ask myself that would create something meaningful? This is like me, it's like as if I'm a script writer for a series. This is how you brainstorm adequately. And if you're not brainstorming to come up with something unique, meaningful, creative, and powerful, your writing's going to be shit. Okay? Unless you're memorizing and regurgitating, in which case you are not a talented writer. You're a talented memorizer, which is also fine if you don't care and you just want to get the mark that you need. But my writing process and my creative process works like this. And you guys have signed up to my class, and a lot of you have been with me for years now. So clearly there's something that you want to learn from me. So this is a peek into how I think and how I see the world. Okay? So the beauty of this lesson is I'm going to write with you guys at the same time. And at the end, we're going to see what each of us wrote. And we're all going to use the stimuli that I've prepared in this brainstorm. Okay? Let me finish it. What does someone learn from meeting a new type of person that they have never encountered before? And do you guys see how I'm actually changing and adding to your I'm changing and I'm adding to your comments and your statements. Do you know why? Do you guys notice that I make your statements better? Do you notice that when I add these words and I hone in your statements, I actually make them more specific, detailed, accurate? As I said, you have to have a radical attention to detail. Radical. Okay? So when I hone this in, on what does one learn from meeting a new type of person. Specifically, the type of the person matters, the archetype of the person matters. I pose the sentiment in a way that is detailed, that is specific. It gives me direction, right? And part of that comes from me inherently asking myself, okay, what does Angie mean when she says, she sent something like, what someone learns from meeting a new type of person? That's not as specific as I need it to be for me to create something meaningful from it, is it? So I'm going to make it more meaningful, right? So I might, in addition to that, say, you know, when we meet someone, what goes through our mind? Are we assessing their honesty? Are we assessing their empathy? Are we assessing their humor? Are we assessing their eye contact and body language, right? What do I like in other people? And what type of people do I enjoy being around? And importantly, back to the question, what could I have possibly learnt from this person? And then is it direct, as in things or anecdotes they voiced, which increased my experience and breadth of scope about the world? Or is it indirect, right? Their subtle behaviors either inspired me or I watched them talk and behave and I thought, wow, I don't really want to be like this person, right? I don't like the way that they did that, right? Or I watched and observed their behaviors and I thought, wait a second, I don't like what they did or how they are, right? Matters. All of this matters in the real world, okay? I'm going to put all this stimuli back into the notion. Today's lesson is a breakdown of what it means to be a strong writer rather than a strong memorizer or regurgitator. Okay? Oh man, Priscilla stopped because she moved up to year 11, 12 in Lang, but if she was still here, Priscilla would have loved this class, guys. Let's do it in honor of Priscilla. Today's going to be a beautiful class. You guys are going to do really well. And if you don't, we'll be shitting on your writing as a class because you have no excuse to not do well. I'm gonna move this to trash. There we go. Here. All right. Are we on the same page? This is that's the link to the submission form as usual. Now, all of you need to access the notes on Notion as usual. So, what's your task? Okay. Let me actually outline your exact task. Your exact task today, right, is to look through all of the stimuli below and the dot points of questions that Sapanta has brainstormed, right? Uh, Sapanta has brainstormed, right? I want you to write effectively an answer to each of the questions that I've posed, right? I want you to write an answer individually to each of the questions or as many of the dot points I've created. Find a way to connect them as ideas logically and cohesively as a way to almost teach me about the world or your perspective or your philosophy of how you navigate your surroundings. Okay? There you go. You've got everything you need. You've got 70 weeks of notes prior to this. I'm going to start your timer. How many dot points are you guys should get started, but while I count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. You know what? I'm happy to give you 20 minutes. You don't need to write on every dot point. I want to give you 20 minutes. Answer the questions, but try and turn it into an essay or a story or a piece that is cohesive about your thoughts, right? And you can do world building if you like, Vienna. It's completely up to you. That's fine. There we go. Ali, request the notes. You're already approved. Guys, reload the page. You're all there. And I'll put it onto the Discord as well. Your timer is running. Yes. You have questions. I've got, so do we write a story and answer the questions? You write a story by connecting as many of these points after answering the questions, or answer the questions as you go and think which of the ideas in these questions connect to one another? Which one am I passionate about? Which one is an idea that I want to talk about, that I want Sapanta to see? I want to impress Sapanta with my perspective on the world. I want to show him that I look at this way, or I look at this that way. And you don't need to go in order. You can go in any order that you like. Bottom to top, top to bottom, middle to top to bottom. It doesn't matter, Ruthvik. Doesn't matter. Beautiful, sweet. Sweet, sweet. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Good. Um, we want it to be almost philosophical, like the styles of writing I've been trying to get you guys to write for the past few weeks. Um, that's okay, Aria. Yep, that's fine. It can be in any tense that you like, but past tense is impactful for something like this. I want you to see it as if you're imparting wisdom, okay? As if you're imparting wisdom.